Why, hello. I didn't see you there. We're back at it again. Adventures in the Forgotten Realms. In the world of this series, MTG ASMR, I've been on an upward trend. Started with some very mediocre decks, got Mordenkainen for a few drafts, and ended with Coin Toss, the previous episode, which went pretty well as far as my memory goes. Since then, however, I have drafted quite a few games without recording, and they have gone less than good. Bad, I would say, even. So, we're diving back in, and today we have a red-white aggro deck with a slight theme of equipment, as you might expect. We do have a copy of Brunor Battlehammer, a 4-mana 5/3 legend. Each creature gets +2/+0 for each equipment they have on it, and you get one free equip each turn. Pretty nice. The equipment I'm speaking of is Dueling Rapier, 1 mana that gives +2/+0. Boots of Speed, 1 mana gives +1/+0 in haste. A +2 mace, and a couple Great Axes. Great Axe is not very good. 1 to play, 5 to equip. Gives +4/+0, but with a Brunor in play, that gets very saucy. We have a red dragon, 2 Tiger Tribe Hunters at the top. This is a 4/4 trample that, if you have Pack Tactics, lets you throw creatures at other creatures. And we have a mythic rare planeswalker. Yet again, we've really been getting lucky with these. Zariel, Archduke of Avernus, 4 mana, 4 loyalty. The +1 gives creatures +1/+0 in haste. A 0 makes a 1/1 red devil token, and when it dies, it does damage to a target. And the ultimate is actually attainable, -6. You get an emblem with, at the end of your first combat phase, you get another combat phase. So, aggro is not my thing, hence the name of this deck. Fine, I'll play aggro. And according to the boys at Limited Resources, aggro is the way to go in this format. So let's see if we can't turn our luck around. We have a couple 1-drops in our opening hand, which are both equipment, and no creatures until turn 4. We have a Brunor, Battlehammer, and a Zariel. I'm going to keep. We do have quite a few cheap creatures, so I feel confident that we can make this happen. We'll keep. And we're going to lead off with a Great Axe. We really want to save this Dueling Rapier until we have a creature we can put it on. We drew a land. It's not ideal. Oh, I would love to draw a creature. Our opponent played Mimic. This is quite a bad card. This is a 2-mana treasure, so you can sacrifice it for a mana. And for 2 mana, you can turn it into a 3/3 creature, which is not a good rate. You know, we gambled on being able to draw a creature. We have not done so. Luckily, our opponent is not putting us under any pressure, really. We'll see what happens next turn. Our opponent played a plane, so they're green-white. If our opponent doesn't put a creature into play, they don't. They put Find the Path, a ramp spell that lets them venture into the dungeon. I wonder what dungeon they will choose. Spoilers. It's going to be the Lost Mines, I bet. Correct. So they scry 1. They're not pressuring us, which I think means we just go for Zariel. And we make a devil. Well, now our opponent really needs to do something, or they are going to be in big, big trouble. They have upwards of 6 mana this turn, which they're going to use to play a Direwolf Prowler. 3 mana, 2/2. You can pay 2 to give it, +2/+2. Instead, what they're going to do is they're going to activate their Mimic and attack Zariel with it. We're just going to block and do a damage to our opponent with the Devil token. We have drawn very poorly so far. Now what do we have? We have another Devil token, which is what we're going to make. We're going to play a Plundering Barbarian and destroy our opponent's Mimic. And then we're going to play a Dueling Rapier and attach it to our devil. Opponent is still under a lot of pressure. They have a lot of cards, and they have 5 mana. They cast another Find the Path. What are they ramping into, is my question. What 8-drop, what 10-drop are they angling for? Our opponent ventured further, they got a goblin, and now they're deciding whether or not to attack. They do want to attack. With their Direwolf Prowler. We would be happy to have this. They're attacking, and they're pumping the Prowler. We're going to block with our souped up Devil, and use its extra damage to kill the Prowler. That's some nice value for us. We are then going to play Brunor Battlehammer. We get a free equip. So we put our Great Axe on our Plundering Barbarian. We're going to +1 Zariel to give our creatures +1/+0 in haste. And we'll attack with both our creatures. A 9/2 and a 6/3. They block the 9 damage, unsurprisingly, and take 6 going to 13. The pressure is on. Again, same position. They have infinite mana and lots of cards. This game is far from over. But they play another Direwolf Prowler. I really have not been impressed by that card, I have to say. You thought that was unimpressive. How about another Direwolf Prowler? We're going to play our +2 mace. We're going to equip Brunor with the Dueling Rapier. And we're going to put the +2 mace on him as well. So he has a 13/5. Make a red devil. And we'll attack with our giant monsters, which our opponent basically has to block at this point. He definitely has to block Brunor, or he will die this turn. Yep, as expected, just puts a blocker on each of them. We are firmly in chump territory. Oh, decides to take 8 damage to the face, blocking only 1. This doesn't seem to be a winning proposition for our opponent. But again, as we've said many a time, they have a ton of mana, and they still have cards in hand. Okay, this is what I was kind of waiting for. A Hill Giant Herd Gorger. A 7/6 that gains them 3 life. That actually goes little ways to securing things for them. Okay. We are going to move the +2 mace over to our Plundering Barbarian, making it a 12/4. Is that worth doing? I don't really know. We're just going to attack with our Plundering Barbarian. Again, they must block. Then we're going to play a Ranger's Hawk. We are going to equip the Great Axe to the Hawk, threatening lethal next turn. And we are going to... I could have done so much better. I could have +1 and gotten my attack in this turn. I'm a big fool. You caught me. I'm just going to go ahead and +1 Zariel. Next turn, we're threatening to ult Zariel. We're threatening to smash for lethal in the air. Our opponent has many, many things that they must answer, and 1 turn to do it. Something Seth and I have discussed on Filthy Casuals Review is the rising value of 1 mana flyers. They certainly hold equipment well. Our opponent agrees and uses Choose Your Weapon to destroy our Ranger's Hawk. Now they have 4 mana available to them and 2 cards in hand. I still don't see how they can possibly win from this point. They pass the turn. I mean, they have 2 cards in hand, which seems to indicate to me they might have a trick. So, we're going to use our Equip 0 to put a Great Axe on a Devil. And then we are going to move our Dueling Rapier onto our Devil as well, making it a 9-1, no, sorry, an 11-1, because of the bonus from Bruenor. We're going to ult Zariel, so we get 2 combats every turn. Hopefully this should finish the game for us right here. So we go to combat. Oof, should have equipped my mace. Man, just making lots of bad mistakes here. We attack with our 11-1 and our 5-3. At most, our opponent will be able to block and get a trick from one of these things. And they take 11 and die. Whew. Our foolish play almost cost us what should have been a much easier game. But we were victorious. Join me for game 2 after the break.
Ready for a rules-light, narrative-failing forward collaborative storytelling tabletop role-playing game?
Unsure of where to start?
Powered by the Players is an actual play podcast featuring mini campaigns and one-shots of all your favorite Powered by the Apocalypse games.
Each campaign or one-shot will be a different PBTA game with a rotating cast of diverse players. We've got Masks, a teenage superhero drama.
Bluebeard's Bride, a feminist horror retelling.
Monster of the Week, a supernatural mystery.
Escape from Dino Island, a Jurassic Park-inspired adventure.
Crossroads Carnival, a Depression-era sideshow noir.
The next game you play could be yours, so join Morgan, Kristen, and Diana.
And let's power up.
Follow us on Twitter at PBT Players.
Subscribe on your favorite podcatcher.
It's game 2. We have 4 lands, 3 non-lands. 2 of our non-lands are Dueling Rapier, which we don't want to play on turn 1, and Price of Royalty, which we don't want to play on turn 3. I think we have to mulligan. Hand 2 looks a little bit better. Hulking Bugbear, Zariel, Archduke of Avernus, and Red Dragon. We're gonna have to keep this, I'm sorry to say. It's not a good hand. A mountain will go a long way in making this better. Our opponent goes Island Wizard class. We draw a 1-drop in Ranger's Hawk. It's embarrassing to play a 1-drop on turn 2, but here we are. We have not drawn a mountain. A mountain really would have pulled this hand together, because we could have played a Hulking Bugbear on turn 2. And then in Zariel, the Archduke of Avernus on turn 4. None of that's happening. We're just hitting our opponent for 1 with our Ranger's Hawk. Oh boy. Our opponent went Soul Knife Spy. 3 mana, 3/2. When it deals combat damage to a player, they draw a card. We're going to hit them for 1 with our flyer. We drew a Minimus Containment, so we're going to turn their Spy into a treasure token and hope they can't do very much with that. But we'll see. They leveled up their wizard class, drew some cards, and then played a Secret Door. This is an 0/4 wall defender that lets them venture into the dungeon. I am not impressed with what I'm seeing. Fortunately for our opponent, we are doing nothing. We have not drawn a land. We have not drawn a mountain. If we draw a mountain, this hand becomes unlocked. We played a Great Axe on our turn. We can't equip it yet. Our opponent is just max leveling their wizard class. So now whenever they draw a card, they'll put a +1/+1 counter on a creature they control. We yet again did not draw a land. We drew Boots of Speed, which we will grudgingly play, equip to our Ranger's Hawk, and attack for 2 flying. We're at 20, opponent is 15, but this doesn't look very good. Our opponent is making a great big wall. They use their wizard class to put a +1/+1 on their secret door. They now have a 1/5 defender. I mean, as much as I'm mocking it, as much as I'm mocking it, it will stop us from attacking. But our opponent played an Air Cult Elemental. We're just going to lose. We played our Ranger's Hawk again. We're going to take control of our opponent's Air Cult Elemental. We're going to attack with it. We're at 20, they're at 13, but now they're going to be putting a +1/+1 counter on their Air Cult Elemental. Opponent has not missed a land drop. We have missed many a land drop. They attack with their Elemental. 17 to 13. They play Rust Monster and Shortcut Seeker. Things are getting very bad for us. Well, we now have enough mana to equip our Ranger's Hawk with a Great Axe. Imagine that. We have a 5/1 flyer. We're going to hit our opponent for 5. It's 17 to 8. They're going to have to leave back this Air Cult Elemental at some point. Probably right now. No, they're just attacking us. I'm kind of surprised, honestly. We've already shown them a price of loyalty. If we have another one, we would just kill them this turn. Okay. Yes, they left back the Air Cult Elemental. That makes sense. I mean, we can still... If we drew a price of loyalty, we would kill them this turn. We don't have another one in our deck, unfortunately, so it's really not a concern for them. I'm pretty upset losing to this deck that we're going to lose to. They have a Brazen Dwarf, which rewards them for die rolls, of which they have not done any, and does a bad job at that. So here's what we have to do. We have still not drawn a land. We're going to equip our Boots of Speed to our Ranger's Hawk. Going to attack. Our opponent must block with their Air Cult Elemental. We trade 1 for 1. We have no creatures in play. I think we're going to lose. Even if we drew a mountain at this point, so we could get our Hasty Bugbear into play and equip it with some stuff. They have their really bad secret door in play. A bad wall, which would still stop us from attacking them. This is one of those games that you lose and you feel like your opponent got away with something. Our opponent is playing some cards. They're attacking with a Rust Monster and a Shortcut Seeker. We have no blockers, so we take 7. We go to 4. If we draw... Even if we draw a mountain... we have a red dragon, which means it could come into play, deal 4 to them, and if we could give it haste with our Boots of Speed, we could attack them for the win. But we just haven't drawn any lands this game. Our opponent is on 9 lands, we're on 5. They have so many more cards than we do. So I believe we did draw the mountain. We'll play the red dragon. We're tapped out. So close and yet so far. 2 to 5 and we lose. We are now 1-1. I feel like our deck is much better than what they put into play that game, but we kept a very mildly greedy hand. But all we needed to do was draw some lands, and we failed to do that. That's what happens sometimes, you know. Let's hope for better outcomes in Game 3. We are 1-1 on to Game 3. This deck has potential. This deck can make it happen. No more greedy keeps. I solemnly swear, we won't keep a greedy hand. Guaranteed, 100%. Not gonna happen. Nice try. Okay. This hand is interesting. We keep drawing turn 1 Dueling Rapier. Just to reread it if I haven't yet. It's 1 mana, flash for an equipment. When it enters the battlefield, you attach it for free to a creature. The creature gets +2/+0, but the equip cost is 4. You really don't want to manually equip this the first time. And yet we have not drawn a cheap creature to put this on, and that continues here. We have a Minimus Containment, 3 mana removal, a Plundering Barbarian, 3 mana creature, and our Zariel, 4 mana planeswalker. This is not a greedy keep, but we don't have an early play as of yet, which is always potentially hazardous. I think if we don't have a turn 2 play, by the time we get to turn 2, we just run out the rapier. Opponent goes Plains Great Axe. So they are on the equipment plan as well. They play turn 2 Steadfast Paladin, 2 mana, 2/2 lifelink. If only we were so lucky. We've drawn 2 lands so far. Our luck, I swear. We're going to get hit for 2 this turn, at least. Opponent plays Paladin class, a rare. It makes our spells more expensive during their turn, which we don't really care about. But more importantly, when they level up Paladin class, it's a Glorious Anthem. Gives their creatures +1/+1, which is quite annoying. And our opponent plays Potion of Healing. They hit us, it's 18-22. I really don't know what our opponent is up to. As in, I don't know what their deck is trying to do. Is this an equipment deck? Is this a life gain deck? They're mono white so far. At any rate, we are going to play Plundering Barbarian. We are going to destroy an artifact and kill their Great Axe. A nice cheeky little 2-for-1. This is a small thing. Paladin class makes our spells 1 more to cast during our opponent's turn. And so it takes the spells in our hand that we couldn't cast. These are enchantments and planeswalkers and creatures. And it just alters their cost in your hand so they cost 1 more. So casually looking at your hand, you might get the wrong idea about how much mana you need to cast your spells. It looks like I won't be able to cast some of these spells next turn, but I certainly will. Our opponent levels up Paladin class, so now their Steadfast Paladin is a 3/3 lifelink. I'm going to let blocks happen, aka no blocks at all. And our opponent still has a play. They cast Portable Hole, a 1 mana artifact that exiles another permanent that costs 2 or less. So they're spending a mana to get rid of our Dueling Rapier. That is not a good play. What is a good play is Zariel, Archduke of Avernus, a legendary planeswalker that is going to make us Devil Token. Now if our opponent attacks us, we can profitably block them. We have a Minimus Containment in hand, so we are going to be able to disable a threat that they cast on us. And then we have Red Dragon waiting in the wings to hopefully clean things up. We're at 15, our opponent is at 25. There's a lot of work to do still. Our opponent is apparently mono white. Hard to say if they genuinely are. I have not seen an actual monocolored deck in this format yet. Our opponent is attacking with their Steadfast Paladin. They have 4 mana available, which to me suggests Combat Trick. We're still going to double block. I understand there's a good chance that they have a trick and we are going to lose our Plundering Barbarian for free, but I'm still willing to call their bluff here. They don't play a trick. Their Steadfast Paladin dies, so does our Barbarian and our token. It is now 15-27. They cast another Steadfast Paladin. We'll make another Devil token. And then, though it is risky, in my heart I want to Minimus Containment this Paladin class. I think that's what we're going to do. We're getting rid of a Glorious Anthem effect on their side and removing the possibility of them being able to level it to 3, giving them double strike on attackers. No thank you. Now if they want to attack our Zariel, they'll have to trade with our silly devil token, which of course we would be very happy about. Opponent plays Half Elf Monk, a 1/4 vigilance. You can pay 2 and tap a creature, and they do nothing else with it. Okay. Things are going quite nicely here. I think we're just going to continue pumping out devil tokens as long as we can. They're so annoying to deal with. And then we're going to cast our red dragon. 4/4 flyer. It comes into play and does 4 damage to our opponent. It's now 15 to 23. Life gain. So annoying, am I right? Opponent is still presenting as mono white. It is impressive in a way, but they're also playing things like Portable Hole, Potion of Healing, Half Elf Monk. I mean, knock on wood here, but they have yet to play a really good card. Opponent does nothing on their turn. Well then. I imagine when we go to attack, they're going to tap down our red dragon. So what do we do about that? Maybe it's time to start plussing Zariel. So we're going to give our creatures +1/+0 and haste until end of turn. Let's go to combat and see what they do. Again, presumably they're going to be tapping our red dragon. They're tapping down a devil. Why would they do that? They're just going to let us hit them with the dragon if we want. Huh. In that case, I think we're just going to say no thank you. Maybe we can just march up. This makes me worried that they're going to play something that's going to threaten Zariel. Or play something... you know what they have? They have that 2 mana, do 5 damage to an attacking creature. It's the only reason they would have done what they just did. Nice try, opponent. You played yourself. We're just going to tick Zariel up until we have an ultimate. Our opponent did not play a land, and they did not cast any spells. I'm just going to keep +1ing Zariel, I think. And then we're going to skip the rest of our turn. It seems very certain they have the 2 mana, deal 5 damage spell. And we're so advantaged right now, I don't see a reason to do anything. Our opponent isn't giving us a reason to do anything. It's one of those rare spots in this format where we can really just sit back. Opponent plays Celestial Unicorn. That was clearly what they drew this turn. Now we're in a funny place. We could ult Zariel this turn. And do we just go for it? It's so sketchy. But on the flip side, our opponent has a tapper, and we only have 3 blockers. Let's make another devil. This is such a strange game. Just neither of us are doing anything. I want to ult Zariel, I really do. Getting 2 attacks for the rest of the game sounds good, but, we just have a bunch of these little 1/1 devils and a dragon. And we have almost nothing in hand. 3 lands and a Price of Loyalty. A temporary take one of their creature spells. It's just not that good. Opponent plays Blink Dog. Been very unimpressed by this card. This is 3 mana, 1/1, double strike. Pay 4 mana to phase it out. Who cares? What if I just make another devil token every single turn for the rest of the game? And I just do it 20 more times until I have lethal. Obviously, this is a joke and it's not going to happen. I went ahead and played Dwarfold Champion to 3-1. That's literally it. Wow, I just realized our opponent's not tapping our thing. Let's just hit them for 4. Let's draw out this 2 mana kill spell. That is exactly what they do. I mean, they've been sitting on this for so long. It's just going to happen. We can't just sit back forever and let them keep presenting 2 mana. They play Delver's Torch. Equipped creature gets +1/+1, and when you attack with it, you venture into the dungeon. Not impressed. Not impressed. I mean, what's the best they could do with it? Put it on their Steadfast Paladin so that they can get a life gain trigger on their Unicorn? No, they just put it on their Unicorn, which is now a 4/3. That seems really bad. Okay. We drew Tiger Tribe Hunter, excuse me. A 4/4 Trampler for 5. We could play that +1 Zariel for +1/+0 and haste, and Price of Loyalty, and just do a lot of damage to them. I don't even know if that's good, though. We would get in a fair amount of damage, but not enough to kill them, and then they would kill Zariel, and then they would have their team back to block. We're just going to play the 4/4 Trample. And guess what? We're going to make another devil. Opponent plays Ranger's Hawk. Again, I think legitimately our opponent is mono white, but at what cost? The cost is they're playing Ranger's Hawks and Blink Dogs and Portable Holes and Potions of Healing and a bunch of very medium cards. Okay, they are equipping the Delver's Torch to their Hawk, so they now have a 2/2 flyer. We really could care less about this. We drew a Chaos Channeler. We're getting very close to the point where we just might want to Alpha Strike. We'll play the Chaos Channeler, 4/3. When it attacks, we roll a d20, and we can cast cards from the top of our deck. We're going to +1 Zariel. We have 5 2/1s, a 4/1, a 5/4 Trample, and a 5/3. I'm going to regret this, but I'm going to Alpha Strike them. Depending. They do have a treasure. They can use their half-elf monk to tap down. They don't do it. We're going to go for it. All attack. We're going to sacrifice a devil to do 2 damage to their Ranger's Hawk and 1 damage to their Blink Dog. A nice little 2-for-1. Even better than a 2-for-1, really. Because we used a token to do that. We didn't use a real card. And now they're being attacked with a 5/3, a 5/4, a 4/1, and 4 2/1s that die to do a point of damage to them. Things are looking harrowing from our opponent's side of things. Our opponent is tanking about these blocks for a very long time. I really don't understand the timeout system for Arena. People will think and think and think, use timeouts, and it seems like there's no real penalty. Anyway, after much deliberation, our opponent loses 2 creatures. They take a bunch of damage. We're now tied at 15, and they are left with their 2/1 lifelinker in play. 2/2 lifelinker, excuse me. I mean, our opponent is in rough shape, obviously. They have 5 mana, they have 3 cards. They're staring down a fleet of 1/1 devils and our 4/4 Tiger Tribe Hunter. And of course, Zariel, waiting in the wings. It's a bad spot for them, because they really want to attack Zariel. She's defenseless right now. But they're staring down a lot of damage from our side. They play Inspiring Bard, giving their Steadfast Paladin +2/+2. They're going to attack Zariel for 4. She goes down to 3. And now our opponent is in a lot of trouble. We could attack this turn, could Price of Loyalty their Bard, and have represent a total of 11 damage. Ugh, it's so close. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to +1 Zariel. Our creatures get +1/+0. We're going to Price of Loyalty their Bard. We're going to play the Great Axe. Going to equip the Great Axe to a devil. We're going to attack with everything. And that should be lethal. Indeed it is. Good game. Victory. We're now 2-1. Haha. All we have to do is cast our Mythic Planeswalker, and we can win the game. Very good. I'll see ya in Game 4. These games have been going pretty well, though I have to say I'm pretty annoyed at how badly we've been doing about drawing 2-drops. Maybe this game will be the remedy, though, because we have a Dwarfhold Champion, 2 mana 3/1, and when it's equipped it gets +0/+2. We do have a 2-drop, and a Dueling Rapier to follow it up. Our opponent's going first. This is the first game that we've played where we actually have a 2-drop when we want it. Opponent mulliganed, they go Island. And then Bag of Holding. We should feel good about this start from our opponent, because that's not good. Blue is, without a doubt, the worst color in the format, we have learned. And Bag of Holding is an extremely slow card in an extremely fast format. Opponent is blue-green. I mean, I have definitely been ranched by Simic in this format. There's no question. Our opponent used their turn for Bag of Holding. They draw a card, they discard a card. And eventually, for 4, they can get back the cards that they discarded. We'll just have to try to pressure them that much harder. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to combat, attack with our Dwarfhold Champion. They use Shocking Grasp to give it -2/-0 and draw a card. We're going to Dueling Rapier it. So our opponent just cycled Shocking Grasp. Oof, this is like one of those games where we really have to win or be very embarrassed at the end of the day. Our opponent plays Inspiring Bard. I think potentially the first actual good card. Healing them up. It's back to 2020. We're going to Arborea Pegasus, 2/3 flyer. Give our Dwarfhold Champion flying until end of turn. Smash them for 6. It's 20-14. Definitely the best aggro we've had, best aggro draw that we've had in this draft. Opponent plays another Inspiring Bard, healing themselves again. You know, I need to hold my tongue here, because who knows how this is going to develop. Let's equip our Dwarfhold Champion. Attack with everything. going to double block. That's fine. We hit them, it's 20 to 15. They just pass the turn after casting a Direwolf Prowler. Wow, okay. I'm torn here. I want to equip our Pegasus and get in for damage, but we also have a 5-mana 4/4 Trampler at our disposal. You know what? We're just going to equip things. Just going to put our Great Axe on our Pegasus. Smash for 6 in the air. It is 20 to 9. Play another Great Axe. Our opponent must deal with this Pegasus, or they're going to just lose to it straight up. Next turn, we can equip the Pegasus with another Great Axe and just kill them if they don't have anything. I mean, what they need to deal with this is just any flyer. They play Gretchen Titchwillow, an 0/4 that lets you draw cards at great expense. That's not good enough. They're hitting us for 2. I mean, from what I can see, they just don't have anything that can stop us. So let's equip our second Great Axe to our Pegasus. Just now a 10-3 Pegasus with an axe in either hoof. They have Choose Your Weapon, 5 damage to a creature with flying. Are you kidding me? Well, we still have a creature in hand. And we drew a Price of Loyalty that actually, I think, will go a long way. We have a 4/4 Trampler in play, which we can equip with a lot of things. Our opponent is still pumping up their Direwolf Prowler. And, I don't know, you wouldn't attack unless you wanted to, or you wouldn't pump unless you wanted to attack. They're attacking us. And then they cast Spoils of the Hunt, or removal spell. Opponent is somehow battling back. I mean, let's see here. Our opponent is at 9. They have an 0/4 blocker. We have a total of 8 mana. We can Price of Loyalty their Gretchen Titchwillow and equip it, giving it +4/+0, at which point we still lose the game. So we just lose. Man. We drew quite poorly at the end of this game, but man. I said at the beginning, this is one of those games that we have to win or quit the game forever, and it looks like we're quitting the game forever. Your opponent beat us with a lot of bad cards. This is why I don't like aggro. This is why I don't play aggro. We're 2-2 now. What I was saying about why I don't like aggro is you have to draw the right cards in the right sequence, and when things go wrong, you do not have a backup plan. There are no options for you. Like, they killed your creature that you were going to win in the sky with. You have this awesome flyer, 10 power, they're going to smash with. If they kill it, you just lose. That's all there is to it. Goodness gracious. Well, let's see if we can turn things around. And we're back to the good old 2 mana in hand, no turn 2 plays, and our ugly, ugly Dueling Rapier yet again. This hand is not good enough. We will be no greedy keeps, remember? Mulligan. Our second hand looks marginally better. We still have the Dueling Rapier in hand. Cannot believe how many times we've had this in our opening hand with no 2-drops. I guess we have to keep, though. Let's actually, you know what, Dueling Rapier? You can go to hell. Get to the bottom of our library. So irritating. Opponent went Island, we go Mountain Boots of Speed. We drew up Plains because why wouldn't we? Opponent plays a rare, Yuan T. Malison. This is a 2/1 unblockable. It's it's attacking alone. And when it does damage to me, they venture into the dungeon. They will be doing exactly that. White is the second color for our opponent. They play Feywild Trickster. This is the only good dice rolling payoff. A 2/2, when you roll dice, you get a 1/1 blue fairy dragon creature with flying. I mean, blue-red is the dice rolling payoff. Let's see how much dice rolling they actually have. They hit us for 2 and start delving. 18 to 20 now. We still haven't drawn a second red source, so we're going to play Plundering Barbarian. We're going to make a treasure token, and we'll pass to them. Right now the position we're in is they're going to keep hitting us with their Wanty Malison, and they're going to get a venture every single turn. They also cast Ranger's Hawk, which can venture at great mana cost, and Dungeon Map, which can venture. So it seems like they're a pretty focused venture deck. Expert level analysis there. I mean, we could take control of their Wanty and get our own venture in, but why? There's just no point. So we're going to just play our Chaos Channeler, which we drew. To remind you, that's a 4/3. When it attacks, we roll a d20 and we exile some number of cards from the top of our library, which we can then play that turn. We're going to attack with our Barbarian this turn. We get in for 2. It's 16 to 18 now. I mean, our opponent is cruising through the Lost Mine of Phandelver. If they want to this turn, they can... Oh my goodness. So, forgive my pause there. They do hit us for another 2. They do venture further. It's 14 to 18. But they cast what is potentially one of the best cards in the set, Emerith Desert Doom, a legendary 5-mana 5/5 dragon with Ward 4 flying. And when it does damage to me, they draw a card. This is awful. Wow. They even used their Lost Mine of Phandelver Delve to give it an extra 1/1 counter, which sucks because we could have equipped our Chaos Channeler. You know what? We're going to attack with our Chaos Channeler and dare them to block. If they do, they are enormous fools if they block it with their dragon. Okay, they respect us. They block with their goblin. That's good. But now what? I mean, this feels hopeless. They're getting so much value out of their attackers. It's kind of weird because blue-black is the color of creatures' attack, and they get damage if they get through. But our opponent's blue-white deck is a better version of that than we've seen, and it's on the back of a rare and a mythic rare. Well, I mean, go figure. Our opponent is now on full delve mode. They are venturing with their dungeon map. They're attacking with their Wanty Malison, which means they're going to complete their dungeon and start a new one. They go to the Dungeon of the Mad Mage. Why wouldn't you? When you're delving this hard, there's no reason not to. Now what? Now I think we equip our Great Axe to something. Let's put it on our Plundering Barbarian and attack with it. I mean, this is kind of revealing that we don't have a combat trick now, but we just don't have options, really. Our opponent takes it, so it's now 12 to 12. Our opponent is getting so much incremental advantage by delving twice per turn. This is really difficult. So they delved into the twisted caverns of the Dungeon of the Mad Mage and made it so our Barbarian can't attack this turn. Fine. What we're going to do this turn is cast Minimus Containment, target Emerith, pay for the ward cost. We have successfully taken their mythic dragon out of the equation for now. And we're going to attack. Oh, goodness gracious. Well, if we live to see a future turn, it's now 10-9. We have Price of Loyalty in hand, which might be able to turn the tides for us. Our opponent is still delving 2 to 3 times a turn. They played a Displacer Beast, so they got another venture into the dungeon. They activate their dungeon map. And they're going to hit us with the Yuan-Ti again, presumably. Although, I don't know. At this point, maybe they hold it back. But at any rate, they're going to get very close to finishing the dungeon of the Mad Mage. So this time they go into the graveyard. So they get 2 more chump blockers, which is amazing for them. Next turn, they're going to finish the dungeon of the Mad Mage, which will let them draw 3 cards. And they can play one without paying its mana cost. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. But they're at 9. Well, here's, I think, what we have to do. We're going to Price of Loyalty, take their Displacer Beast, attack with everything. They're going to do some chump blocking, because they have to. They go down to 6, we're at 8. Now, unless they have something amazing next turn, we have 2... Oh, we don't, do we? So the 2 cards we revealed off of our Chaos Channeler are Arborea Pegasi, which are 2/3 flyers that give +1/+1 and flying until end of turn to another creature. It would be so easy for us to win the game if we had just drawn those naturally. But we have to play them this turn. We try to, our opponent bars the gate, countering it, and they get to venture, finishing the dungeon. So they finish the dungeon, they draw 3 cards, and they can cast one of them for free. They reveal Contact Other Plane, Trickster's Talisman, Priest of Ancient Lore. They play the Priest of Ancient Lore. 2/1, gain a life, draw another card. Good lord. They play Silver Raven, another chump blocker. I mean, it's just not fair, is it? It's just not fair. This reminds me of games where we got to cast our Mythic Rare and win off of it. And this time our opponent is winning off of their Rare and Mythic Rare. You know what? All's fair, isn't it? Our opponent is still firmly in chump territory. They keep hitting us with the Yuan-Ti Malison. We're at 6 now. I guess they could have attacked me for an extra 5 that turn and put us to 1. They chose not to. They're going back into the dungeon of the Mad Mage. Do they really think this game is going to last that long? One way or another, this game is ending very, very promptly. They're so low. So what do we do here? If we attack with all 3, they can block 1. They can block 2, take the remainder of the damage, and kill us on the next turn. So I'm going to attack with our Plundering Barbarian. I mean, the issue here, what's going to happen now is they're going to block with their Displacer Beast probably and bounce it back to their hand. It's the first turn they've kept up mana for that ability. We're going to attack with our Chaos Channeler, which lets us draw a card. We can play this turn. They do block with their Displacer Beast. Are they going to bounce it back to hand? They do. I mean, I get that. It's a fine play from them. But it actually doesn't seem that good to me. They're just using so much mana every turn on just this nonsense. So we're going to play our Tiger Tribe Hunter, 4/4 Trampler, and a +2 Mace. I mean, there's a chance if they could give us the opportunity this turn to attack with a souped-up equipped Tiger Tribe Hunter. They played an Aberrant Mind Sorcerer, a 3/4, that puts a card from their graveyard back on top. So they got a Contact Other Plane back on top of their library. Honestly, we are super happy about that. And that they used Dungeon of the Mad Mage, scryed 1, and put the Contact Other Plane on the bottom of their library. Okay, I mean, we've made some bad plays, but that was a pretty bad play. So they venture further into the Dungeon of the Mad Mage. Once again, they make one of our creatures unable to attack. These can't attack abilities have been so clutch for them when they've landed. They play Trickster's Talisman. We drew our first pick for the entire draft for the first time this entire game. It is a 2-mana 3/1 Vigilance Loyal Warhound. I can't tell you how sad I am to draw that card right now. Well, let's go ahead and attack with our Chaos Channeler, I guess. We're just trying to draw cards. Right now it's still 4-8. They block with their Mind Sorcerer, so our Chaos Channeler is dead. Let's play a Plains. Let's play the Warhound. Let's equip the Tiger Tribe Hunter with the Mace. And let's end the turn. We're at 4. Our opponent, they can't kill us. They can take us down to 1 if they want this turn, presuming they don't have anything else. Which is a bad assumption. They have 3 cards in hand still. I feel very salty. Is that coming through on the audio? Probably. Our opponent contacts other plane. They scry 2, draw 2. Because that's what they need, right? More cards to beat us with. They play Pixie Guide. So they've got a real die roll sub-theme in their deck, and we just have not seen it pay off for them at all. So now what? They put 2 more skeletons into play. We really only have one option. Equip the Tiger Tribe Hunter. It is now a 10-6. Equip it with the Boots of Speed. It's now an 11-6. Attack with everything. We can kill one of their creatures by sacrificing another one of our creatures. I mean, who cares? Sure, let's sacrifice our Bugbear to kill their Pixie Guide. All they have to do is block enough damage from the Tiger Tribe Hunter. I haven't done the math. There's no way we win this, right? Judges? Do we? No, we don't. We don't. What am I talking about? It was actually very close. I think they're going to save their final life total by exactly 1 at the end of this. Indeed. It is now 2 life for us, 1 life for our opponent. And they kill us with their Wanty Malison, and we drew nothing. Which means that's the end of the game. GG. WP. Get good. Why play? That's how I feel right now. Wow. Easily the saltiest of the matches that we've played. The saltiest draft that we've done. That's 3 losses. We went 2-3. Man. I can't tell you how disappointed I am. I feel like we actually did the thing. We actually drafted a reasonable aggro deck, and it just doesn't work out. I hear this is how you're supposed to do it in this set. It's an aggressive set. We never drew an Arborea Pegasus in a way that let us get through damage. We drew Dueling Rapier in our opening hand pretty much every time, which I think is why Dueling Rapier is not a good card. If you can't play it on a creature and push through a bit of damage with it, it's very specific about when you need to draw it. We never drew our Hobgoblin Captain, a 2-drop, which we would have loved to, of course. We never got a hulking bugbear on turn 3. We shouldn't be too upset. I mean, we got to cast Zariel, Archduke of Avernus, multiple times in this draft. And keeping up with our theme with Mordenkainen, we can only seem to win when we play a mythic rare planeswalker. Wow. Maybe this format isn't for us. Too aggressive, and I don't like the feel of having my fate taken out of my own hands. Well, at any rate, it was still fun. Didn't we have fun? Did we have fun? We had fun. Bye-bye.